I quietly paid my coworker's $320 emergency bill. I didn't even know his last name. The next week, our toxic manager humiliated him in front of the entire office, and everyone laughed until the temp worker came back in a suit and was introduced as the majority owner of the company. He pointed at my manager and said, "He's done." My manager went pale and couldn't stop staring at me. I work nights at a call center in Phoenix. Third shift, the kind where fluorescent lights hum and the vending machine coffee tastes like regret. Pay is $16.50 an hour. Enough to survive, not enough to live. 2 weeks ago, they brought in this older guy for overflow support. Mid-50s maybe. Wore the same blue Costco button down 3 days in a row. Sat at the broken desk near the server room that buzzes all night. Nobody wanted that spot. His name tag just said David. No last name. That's how temp badges work here. He was invisible. Ate lunch alone. Never joined the smoke breaks. When people complained about customers, he'd just nod and keep working. I figured he was one of those guys who'd seen enough jobs to know when to keep his head down. Then came Tuesday night. I was microwaving leftover spaghetti when I heard him on his phone in the hallway, voice shaking. "I understand you can't hold it past 6 p.m. I just don't have $320 right now." Long pause. "It's for my daughter. Type 1 diabetic. Insurance rejected the prior authorization again." My stomach dropped. "If I don't pay tonight, she doesn't get her insulin tomorrow." He wasn't crying, but his voice had that edge where you know someone's one sentence away from breaking. I stood there, holding my plastic fork like an idiot. He hung up, walked past me without making eye contact, went straight back to his desk and kept working like nothing happened. I pulled up my bank account on my phone. I'd just gotten my tax refund that morning. $850. First real money I'd seen in 6 months. I was planning to fix my car's transmission, but this guy's kid needed insulin. I googled the pharmacy chain he'd mentioned, found the payment portal. It asked for an account number and last name. I remembered he'd said his daughter's name, Mia Chen, age 12. I typed in $320, used my debit card, hit submit before I could talk myself out of it. Confirmation, payment successful. I closed my laptop and went back to taking calls about broken Wi-Fi routers. 30 minutes later, I saw David check his phone. His face changed. He stared at the screen, then looked around the room like he was searching for someone, but everyone was on calls. He put his head in his hands for a second, then got back to work. He never asked me about it. I never told him. That was it, or so I thought. Week later, our manager Rick calls an all-hands meeting. Rick's the kind of guy who got promoted because he stayed long enough, not because he's good at anything. He runs the night shift like a high school cafeteria. You're either in his circle or you're a target. We're all standing in the break room. Rick's leaning against the counter with his arms crossed, grinning. "So, I've been reviewing some interesting reports," he says. "Looks like certain people have been using company time for personal charity work." Everyone goes quiet. He looks directly at David. "Tell me, David, when you can't afford basic bills, maybe this isn't the right job for you. Maybe you should try Walmart. They're always hiring." People laughed. Not loud, just enough to show they got the joke. David didn't react, just stood there with his hands in his pockets. Rick kept going. "We're not a welfare office. We're a business. If you can't handle your personal life, that's your problem." I felt my face burn, but I didn't say anything. Nobody did. David just nodded. "Understood," he said quietly. Rick smirked like he'd won something. Next morning, I showed up for my shift and there were 3 men in suits in the office. Corporate. That never happens at night. They called another meeting. Everyone's panicking. Layoffs maybe. Restructuring. Then David walks in, except he's not wearing the Costco shirt. He's in a charcoal suit, hair combed, completely different person. One of the suits steps forward. "For those who don't know, this is David Chen, son of our founder and majority shareholder. He's been working undercover for 3 weeks to assess operational culture." The room went dead silent. David looked around slowly, then his eyes landed on Rick. "I've seen enough," David said. "Rick, you're done. Security will escort you out in 10 minutes. Rick's face went white. "You can't." David cut him off. "Someone in this room showed more leadership in one night than you've shown in 3 years." He looked directly at me. My heart stopped. That's the culture I want to build here. Rick left that morning. Didn't even clean out his desk. 2 days later, David called me into the office. Offered me a supervisor position. $24 an hour, full benefits, tuition assistance. I asked him why. He said, "You didn't help me because you knew who I was. You helped because it was right. That's the only thing I was looking for. I start training Monday. My car's still broken, but I'm fixing it next month."